Texas, a land of vast plains, burning deserts, and deep, silent canyons. But beneath this rugged beauty lies something far older and far stranger than the cowboys and oil rigs we imagine today. Here, buried under centuries of earth and stone, are the forgotten footprints of civilizations lost to time, and mysteries no historian has yet fully explained. Let us begin. In a time before Texas was even Texas, more than 13,000 years, the Neanderthal lady, a woman from the Ice Age. In 1983, near the small town of Leander, Texas, construction workers digging along the brushy creek made an astonishing discovery. Human bones so ancient, they predated the Egyptian pyramids by more than 10,000 years. Archaeologists carefully unearthed the skeleton of a woman delicate but strong lying in the earth as if she had been gently laid to rest. They nicknamed her the Neanderthal Lady. Though she was no Neanderthal, she belonged to a people we know almost nothing about, the first inhabitants of Texas. Her age? Between 10, 0, and 13, 0 years old. Her people? Unknown. Her story? A silent mystery. Some scientists believe she was part of the Clovis culture, hunters who roamed North America after the Ice Age. Others think she was part of an even older migration, a group whose DNA and traditions have long since vanished. Imagine it. A young woman, perhaps in her 20s, living in a Texas where mammoths and giant bison roamed. A Texas where there were no towns, no roads, only open plains, forests, and rivers teeming with life. But why was she buried here, alone? Was it a ritual? An accident? Or something darker? To this day, her bones whisper secrets we may never fully. Far to the west, deep in the limestone canyons of the Pecos River, another mystery waits. Here, painted on sheer rock walls, are sprawling murals, some stretching more than 20 feet across, created between 20 and 40 years ago. Figures of shamans with antlers and wings, animals both real and fantastical, strange symbols that seem to float in midair. The colors, reds, blacks, whites, have survived thousands of years, baked into the stone by the relentless Texas sun. Who painted these scenes? Some archaeologists believe they were spiritual visions, attempts to connect with gods or ancestors. Others suggest they are records of real events, battles, migrations, or catastrophic disasters. One mural, in particular, shows a line of figures holding hands, their bodies elongated and heads surrounded by halos. Some say this depicts a sacred ceremony. Others whisper of visitors from the stars. Standing there, in the cool canyon shade, you feel the weight of time. Every brushstroke a message. But the language? Forgotten. The authors? Long. The mystery of Bering Sinkhole, a portal to the past. Southwest of San Antonio lies a deep, gaping hole in the earth. Bering Sinkhole. At first glance, it's just another karst formation, formed by water slowly eating away the limestone. But in the 1980s, when archaeologists lowered themselves into its depths, they found something haunting. The bottom of the sinkhole was littered with human remains, men, women, children, their bones dating back over 70 years. Why were they here? Some bones showed signs of careful burial, with offerings of shells, tools, and beads. Others were scattered and broken, as if dropped carelessly, or perhaps sacrificed. One theory suggests the sinkhole was a sacred place, a portal to the underworld in the beliefs of ancient peoples. Another proposes it was simply a convenient place to dispose of the dead. Yet the sheer number of bodies, more than 100 individuals, and the artifacts found with them hint at something more. A place of ritual, perhaps even a place of fear. Texas today is a modern land city rising from plains, highways cutting across deserts. But under its surface, in caves, canyons, and quiet creek beds, the past still waits. The Neanderthal lady still lies in her museum case, her bones older than any city, The Pecos murals still glow in the sun, their messages unread. The Bering sinkhole still yawns in the earth, holding the remains of those who walked here before history began. And as we move forward, we must remember, the land remembered. Long before Texas was shaped by cowboys and cattle trails, there were other builders here. Civilizations whose names we do not know, whose languages have never been spoken by living tongues. They left no written records, only stone, bone, and artifacts, scattered clues that raise more questions than they answer. The buried city, a desert metropolis. In the arid plains of the Texas Panhandle, archaeologists uncovered something unexpected, the remains of a prehistoric settlement covering over 120 acres. They call it the buried city, though its real name is lost. This wasn't a temporary camp. It had permanent houses made from stone and mud, storage pits for grain, fireplaces for cooking, even a system for water collection. Artifacts found here, pottery shards, tools, beads, suggest a people skilled in both farming and hunting. They grew corn, beans, and squash, yet also hunted bison in massive drives. Carbon dating suggests the city thrived around 1200 AD, the same time as great civilizations in Mexico and the Mississippi Valley. Could these Texans have been traders, connecting faraway cultures? Some arrowheads match styles from the Puebloan Southwest, while seashell ornaments trace back to the Gulf Coast. And yet, around 1450 AD, the buried city was abandoned. No signs of war, no mass graves, just silence. Was it drought, disease, or something more sudden and terrible? The strange discovery at Wolf Creek near the Canadian River in Texas. An excavation at Wolf Creek revealed another puzzle, the remains of a large village site, filled with pit houses and storage rooms, much like the buried city. But among the artifacts, archaeologists found something strange. Objects made from materials not found anywhere nearby: obsidian from New Mexico, turquoise from Arizona, and copper from the Great Lakes region. This suggests the ancient people here were part of a massive trade network stretching thousands of miles. One small figurine found at the site, carved from a dark, glassy stone, depicts a human-like figure with elongated eyes and an oddly shaped head. Some researchers see it as a shaman in ceremonial disguise. Others can't help but notice it resembles depictions of otherworldly beings. Was it just symbolic art, or a memory of something these people truly? The mystery of the Alabits Flint Quarries. Just north of Amarillo lies the Alabits Flint Quarries National Monument, a place where colorful, glass-like flint has been mined for over 13 years. This stone wasn't just beautiful, it was deadly sharp when shaped into arrowheads and spear points. It was so prized that Alabits flint artifacts have been found as far away as the Mississippi River and the Rocky Mountains. But here's the mystery. Archaeologists found tools at the site that suggest organized mining operations with designated work areas, discarded stone piles, and even signs of labor specialization. This wasn't random gathering, it was industry. But who controlled it? Was there a ruling class? A trade council? The scale suggests leadership, perhaps even a proto-state in Texas, long before European contact. The metal that shouldn't exist. In the late 1800s, a farmer near the Red River reportedly unearthed a small metallic object while digging in his field. The strange part? It was made from a refined copper and tin alloy, essentially, bronze. Bronze requires smelting, a complex process thought to be unknown in prehistoric North America. Tests in the 20th century suggested the alloy's composition was unusual, matching no known Native American metallurgy. Was it a trade good from across the ocean? A hoax? Or evidence of contact with far-off cultures? Mainstream archaeology remains skeptical. The artifact was lost in a private collection, so definitive proof is gone. But among Texas historians, the whispers remain. Shadows in the dust. Texas is often remembered for the Alamo, for cattle drives, for oil booms. But long before these chapters, there were other stories of cities buried in sand, trade routes stretching across a continent, and artifacts hinting at a sophistication we have barely begun to understand. The buried city sleeps under the prairie grass. The flint quarries are silent now, their tools rusting in museum drawers. And somewhere, in a lost collection, a strange bronze object waits, carrying a secret that could rewrite history. We have only brushed away the top layer of dust. Beneath it, the shadows of Texas's first civilization still. History leaves us facts. Legends leave us questions. And in Texas, where the land itself seems endless, some questions have no answer at all. From ghost towns that echo with invisible footsteps, to creatures that walk only when the moon is high, to storms that bring more than lightning. These are the stories that locals whisper and visitors never forget. The Marfa Lights, beacons in the desert. In the far west Texas desert, near the small town of Marfa, strange lights have been appearing for well over a century. They flicker on the horizon, glowing white, red, or yellow, sometimes standing still, sometimes darting across the sky in impossible patterns. The first recorded sighting dates back to the 1880s, when a young cowboy thought he was seeing campfires of Apache raiders. When he approached, there was nothing there. Since then, scientists have tried to explain the Marfa lights as car headlights, atmospheric reflections, or swamp gas. But the lights were reported long before cars, and they often move in ways no headlights could. Some witnesses claim the lights seem aware, approaching curious onlookers, before vanishing in an instant. Others tell of shapes forming within the glow, like human silhouettes. Are they spirits? UFOs? Or something the desert itself is? The Goatman of Lake Worth. In the summer of 1969, reports began flooding police stations near Lake Worth, outside Fort Worth, Texas. Terrified teenagers claimed they'd been chased by a half-man, half-goat creature with horns, scales, and glowing red eyes. One couple said it leapt onto their car, leaving deep scratches in the metal. Another group swore it hurled a tire at them from a cliff, a tire weighing over 300 pounds. Newspapers ran headlines like, "Fishy Man, Goat Terrifies, Couples Parked at Lake." Some believed it was an escaped circus animal or a prankster in a costume. But even after police patrolled the area, sightings continued, often accompanied by strange howls in the night. To this day, locals tell their kids not to wander too close to the lake. The Phantom Hitchhiker of San Antonio Highway 281, south of San Antonio, has its own chilling tale. The Phantom Hitchhiker. Drivers at night have reported seeing a young woman in a white dress standing at the roadside, her arm outstretched for a ride. If you stop, she gets in quietly, giving you an address in San Antonio. But when you arrive, she's gone. The seat is empty. When curious drivers knock at the door, an older woman answers, pale and tired. She explains the girl was her daughter who died years ago on that very stretch of road. Some think it's just a ghost story for the campfire. Others have driven home in silence, never picking up another stranger. The Black-Eyed Children of Abilene. In the late 1990s, reports began to circulate online about encounters with children whose eyes are completely black, no whites, no pupils. One of the most famous accounts comes from outside an Abilene movie theater. A man sitting in his car was approached by two boys, aged around 9 or 10. They asked for a ride home, but their voices were flat, emotionless. The man felt an overwhelming sense of dread, as if every instinct screamed at him to leave. When he noticed their eyes pure black, he drove away in panic. Since then, dozens of similar stories have surfaced across Texas. Some believe they're supernatural entities, demons in disguise. Others suggest alien-human hybrids. Whatever they are, the advice is always the same. Never invite. The Lightning Riders of West Texas. In the vast plains between Lubbock and Midland, storms roll in fast, the kind where lightning turns night into day. Local ranchers tell of a phenomenon they call the Lightning Riders. Figures on horseback, appearing in the heart of a storm, illuminated only for a second by each flash. Some say they're the ghosts of cowboys who died in a stampede. Others claim they're omens, a warning that disaster is coming. A ranch hand in the 1940s told of riding home in a storm when he saw them 5 riders galloping alongside him, their faces hidden in shadow. When the lightning stopped, so did they. The next morning, news came that a ranch 30 miles away had burned to the ground in the night. Coincidence or a warning? Low hum of distant wind turbines, soft static like an old radio transmission, faint metallic clangs in the background. Narrator, steady, thoughtful tone. The past leaves behind bones and ruins, but the present leaves us puzzles that are unfolding right now. From mysterious signals picked up in the Texas desert, to vanished aircraft, to underground sounds that have no clear source. These are the modern mysteries of Texas, unsolved, unexplained, and still very much. The Big Bend radio signal. In the early 2000s, amateur radio operators near Big Bend National Park began picking up a strange transmission. It wasn't in any known language, a series of rhythmic pulses, followed by bursts of what sounded like whispering voices. At first, they thought it might be military, but no local base claimed responsibility. Then, when a few tech-savvy listeners recorded it and analyzed the audio, they found something chilling. Hidden in the static were faint patterns resembling Morse code, but encoded in an unknown way. The strangest part? The signal always began just after midnight and stopped exactly at 3:15 a.m. Whether it was a natural anomaly, a secret experiment, or something not of this earth, no one has ever admitted the truth. The Lubbock Lights, UFO over Texas. In August 1951, several college professors in Lubbock reported seeing a V-shaped formation of bright lights flying silently overhead. Within days, dozens of townspeople claimed the same sighting, including an amateur photographer who captured a blurry but famous photo of the lights. The U.S. Air Force investigated and concluded they might have been birds reflecting city lights. But witnesses swore the lights moved too fast, too evenly, to be birds. Some described the sensation of being watched, as if the lights were aware of them. To this day, the Lubbock Lights remain one of the most credible UFO cases in American history. The mystery boom of Houston. For over a decade, residents in and around Houston have reported sudden, deafening booms loud enough to rattle windows and set off car alarms. They happen randomly. Sometimes in the middle of the night, sometimes in broad daylight. Seismologists have detected no earthquakes at the time of the booms. Authorities suggest it might be industrial accidents or sonic booms from aircraft. But no official cause has ever been confirmed, and the booms often happen in areas far from any factory or military base. In one case, a boom was followed by strange blue lights flashing in the clouds. Coincidence or cause? The vanishing of Flight 3492 in 1994. A small commuter plane, Flight 3492, departed from Midland, bound for Dallas. It carried 6 passengers and 2 crew. Radar tracked it for 14 minutes, then the signal simply vanished. There was no mayday call, no wreckage found, no oil slick on the ground. Search efforts covered over 10 square miles, nothing. The families still wait for answers, clinging to the idea that maybe, somehow, the plane landed somewhere else, or was taken. Aviation experts point out that for a plane to vanish without debris is almost impossible. And yet, here in Texas, it happened. The deep sounds of the Edwards Plateau. In the rocky heart of Texas lies the Edwards Plateau, a vast limestone region with caves and sinkholes leading deep underground. For years, cavers have reported hearing low, mechanical hums far below the surface. Sometimes the sound pulses like machinery. Other times it shifts in pitch, like a far-off engine. Scientific teams have tried to capture the noise, but their recordings always seem to fail, corrupted by static or sudden equipment failure. Some locals believe there's an undiscovered underground facility. Others think it's geological, the earth itself making sound. But one veteran caver put it differently. It's not coming from the earth. It's coming from under the theories. without answers. These modern mysteries remind us that the age of exploration is not over. We have mapped the land, measured the stars, connected the globe with technology, and yet, Texas still hides things from us. Maybe the Big Bend signal is just static. Maybe the Lubbock lights were just birds. Maybe the booms in Houston are harmless accidents. But maybe they're signs. Signs that there are still places where the unknown lives, and that the Lone Star State, vast and untamed, still has secrets it's not ready to share.